on. Folks, hello and welcome to Gamers Health. I am Rach Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, and with me, as every Saturday night, except for last Christmas when it was just me and my niece,
Mhm.
is my wife, Rachel.
Hello.
So, hey, Don, good to see you. My alcohol will wait till after the cast. I've got a lemonade. totally, totally non-alcoholic. What a shame. So, in any case, we have had an interesting week
Hmm.
for ourselves, and we also have had an interesting week in the community, and we're going to address some of that when we talk about um, mental health and seasonal depression and other stuff later on, I guess, in the cast.
Hmm.
But I think we'll dive into the updates. Rich, you want to go first, or shall I?
That is up to you.
I don't care. I'll go first.
Okay.
So we both went. We have the same endocrinologist. We both had our endocrinologist appointment at.
We go in the office at
It
the
was
same
way too early
time.
on Thursday. It was 8:45, but then we got kind of yelled at by the receptionist because one of us had an 8:15 and they didn't realize it. So in any case, no harm, no foul. Everything went fine with that.
Hmm.
But I've been off metformin for the last year, and I was on Jardiance, but since Jardiance is no longer covered by my insurance, I am now on Farxiga. These names are all
Farsiga.
they're all made up. I mean, it's like one of us.
Somebody gets paid to make these names.
Yeah, it's like one of us gamers going, I need a new monster. Well, I need a new name for a big bad guy. I know, Moonjaro, which
I
but
think it's Moonjara,
or Moonjara. Well, I would
which I think sounds really cool. That could be like Moonjara,
well, actually.
Moonjara in the jungle.
Yeah, no, it's Moonjaro, Rich.
It's
I was
a
right.
O at the end.
Yeah, it's Moonjaro.
Okay, so Moonjaro in the jungle.
Moonjaro in the
I
jungle.
don't know why Moonjaro needs to be in the jungle, but it seems
It's
like it would be
uh,
just right.
but so now I started Moonjaro, which is a once a week injection, and it has potentially some detrimental side effects and can lead to nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, constipation. Figure that one out. I don't know how you get them both at the same time.
I guess it depends on
Uh,
what they're working with.
yeah, heartburn. Well, so I did the injection shortly after we got home
Thursday.
on Thursday. So now we are on Saturday. So I'm like 2.5 days into it, and this is what I can observe. Now, by the way, this is one of those. It's like kind of like Ozempic, but if Ozempic goes to 10, this one goes to 11. It also protects your heart, which obviously I need that.
It's got a lot of benefits.
It's got a lot of benefits, but my doc was also like, it generally leads to weight loss. I go, how much? I go, significant, significant. He goes 20, 25 pounds, sometimes even more. So I did my research, and after 40 weeks, you can generally look at like a 19.2% decrease in weight with the average. So say 20% to 1/5. If
It's a big deal.
Yeah, if I started out at 236, it's losing like 45 pounds. I'd be thrilled as a pig in shit because the weight loss will also lead to better blood sugar on its own and less stress in my heart on its own. So that win-win. So now I weighed into the office at 236. I weighed in at home yesterday at 234. And I think today I was 232.4. Now, this is all within my usual uh, weight change area. My weight can go up or down a couple of pounds daily. I have to weigh daily because I have congestive heart failure. So you don't see yourself put on like 4 pounds in a day and 3 pounds the next day, and all of a sudden you're up 7 pounds because like you're retaining water. So that's I'm obviously going in the opposite direction, which is a beautiful thing to see. So crossing fingers, and It's. I guess it's real. Maybe it's not real wood on there. I don't know. Probably
It's
not.
press board.
All right, but knocking on press board because press board's the way to go.
It was
So-
wood sometime.
At some time in the past, it was wood. So now, when Rach and I walked in, they take your temperature, and we were both 97.4,
Mm-hmm.
and then the doc takes your
Mm-hmm.
blood pressure, and Rach was 120/70,
Which is great.
and I was 120/70. Yeah, I mean, Don, I've put on probably an average of five pounds to my base average. Like my middle, I'm usually somewhere between 232, 233 to 238. But over the summertime, early summer, it was probably averaging around 228 was the average. So I'm gone up about 5 pounds on the average, maybe a little bit more. So we will see how this plays out. I've got allergies which aren't playing out very well. Now, my side effects. We were supposed to be up in the Poconos. We had planned to go to the Poconos after our doctor's appointment. Just load up the car, head out to the Poconos, which would have been a lot of fun. Robert, welcome. But when I got the new medication and realized I was going to start it, I said, "Wow, if I happen to get like real gastrointestinal issues, whether it's nausea or worse,
You want the home bowl advantage.
You want the home bowl advantage. You want to be in a place where you can actually walk to something if you need to.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be a slave to the car. So we opted to not go to the Poconos. Yes, Don says hi, Rach. So we wound up staying behind. Now, within a couple of hours after having the Mounjaro shot, again, these names are so fucking made up. But within hours, I started getting heartburn. You know, or the acid. I should say heartburn, acid reflux. You know, so it wasn't any kind of like pain. It was just like, oh. So Tums has become my go-to. First night, I did have that issue. I had to wake up and get Tums. This morning, I woke up like around 7 initially, and I took a couple of Tums and went back to bed, and I was fine, although my tummy made some gurglings. But it's going to be interesting to see how this works. Now, this is not covered by my insurance, and now you got to go, why the hell are you taking it? Well, I get a 4-week trial starter.
Right.
At the doctor's office.
They sample you out.
Right. And then apparently because it's so new, and I guess no insurance is really covering it, they have 2 patient support plans. One, if you have insurance and it's covered. And one, if you have insurance and it's not covered. So I have insurance, it's not covered. It still shouldn't cost me more than $25 a month. The out-of-pocket, if you're not having the assistance, it's over $1,000 a month. Blows my mind. But I'm assuming that they're willing to work with people who have prescription insurance plans that aren't covered because they want to show the efficacy and then have the pressure put on the insurance plans to start to cover this. I'm guessing that's where that's going. So that's my little health update. By the way, last night was the first night, I think, in a month where I had more, according to my watch, more restful sleep, deep sleep, than light sleep.
Yeah, you slept well.
So, now, Rach, I'm going to toss the ball to you.
Okay.
If I had a ball, I'd toss it at you, but we probably didn't drop it. And then
Well,
I don't know if you hear it. We don't have karaoke tonight. We have Cats and Heat tonight. So your musical accompaniment.
All the fun New York City alley cats decided to come under our window.
Yes. They're like, hey, you adopted an alley cat 2 years ago. What about me? And thank God our cat was apparently spayed.
She was spayed before
Yeah.
she,
Before she
hit
came in.
street, I guess.
Yeah. What good idea. All right.
So for me, at the endo doctor. Yeah, they take your blood out, so I got my result from that back, and so I go there to monitor my Hashimoto's disease, which is basically I have hypothyroidism because of Hashimoto's disease. So Hashimoto's disease is where your immune system is attacking your own thyroid. So I guess it's slowly, kind of killing it off or causing fibrosis, like hardening of it or whatever. And so, um, I got my result back yesterday morning, and it's my TSH level, the level that they look out for when you have hypothyroidism, was a little high. So I think they might change my medication to go up a little more. There's definitely room for it to go up because the max dosage of the medicine is 300, and I'm only on 137 micrograms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there's room to be able to go up, and it adjusts just at different points in your life. I had this happen maybe 6 years ago, where the level was a little high and they just increased the medication. But yeah, so I'm just waiting to see what the increase will be or what the instructions are.
Right.
Because you can't really leave this unchecked. Like you can't leave it, unmedicated, because some bad things can happen. Like you can get depressed. It causes me to feel cold a lot more uncomfortably than other people.
Well, Rach and I also
very
generally
cold sensitive.
We generally work at different extremes. Like I'm very sensitive to the heat, and Rach is very sensitive to cold. So we learned early on in our marriage that we could not share blankets. We had to have a separate sheet, one bed, but two separate top sheets because it was not convenient otherwise. By the way, just to do a small interruption, Robert's cat went missing on October 10th. Cat mockery is quite triggering for me. Robert, I apologize.
We're very sorry.
We're very sorry, and I believe me, as a cat person since my earliest memories, we've thankfully, like I always get worried with our girl because she's been in now for 2 years. She was probably on the streets for I don't know,
several
months before that. When she gets full range of the house, we're in a 2-family home, so we usually have a gate closed so she can't get access to the rest of the house. Separates her from the 2 downstairs cats because they are territorial. But when my parents go to the Poconos, she gets full range of the house, and then I get nervous when
we're very careful when we open and close doors.
Especially the back door. Our back door opens out. See, a door that opens into the house, if the cat's near the door, you got to make sure they back up.
Right.
When the door opens out, that's when the cat's
ready.
So it's not that I don't trust her, but I don't trust her. That's what it simply comes down to, because So the reason why you could,
it's probably how she got out,
it could
on
be
the street first anyway.
It could be. She's a sweetheart, so I can't see that she would not have gone back to a home that cared about her. I would think, but she was obviously fixed, and she didn't have a clipped ear, so she wasn't fixed as a stray. She was fixed before she hit the streets.
Yeah.
But when we found her, July of 2020, she was emaciated. She was.
Yeah, she was a skeleton.
Yeah.
And it's just been so nice to see her
bloom,
exactly, and bloom, and not in the traditional way that traumatized cats that have had homelessness experience like the huge weight gain.
Rob says, I'm being darkly sarcastic. I do miss my cat a lot. The neighbor's cat we call Nemesis came in the condo today and ate some of our cat treats. That's sweet. Don, we have 4 cats. Kitties make the world a better place. If you look at the extended household, like it's a 2-family home, Rich and I are upstairs. My parents are downstairs. My parents have 2 cats and a bird. And Lucky is also a stray.
Oh yeah,
Lucky's a cockatiel that my mother saw like 25 years ago on the telephone line, and she's like, "That looks like a cockatiel." And she whistled to him, and he flew down and landed on her head. And then she walked into the house and locked him in a living room, and there was a old bird cage from like, I don't know, 40 years past that my mother dug out. It was way too small for him, but she got him into the cage. And then
so that's why they don't like to throw anything out.
Oh yeah, you never know, Rach. You never know.
You just don't know.
So that's why the bird is called Lucky. And my father's been good at training the different generations of cats to leave the bird alone when the bird flies around the room. My girl, our girl, Sadie, has not been trained. Her predecessor was trained. My father even trained Ashley, who had a hell of a hunting instinct. This girl was good, a hunter. And my father taught her, because Ashley had full range of the house, but she would often get chased upstairs by the downstairs cats.
Right.
The pecking order of these animals is always interesting. Donka, our dachshund, which makes 3 cat, 1 dog, 1 bird household. She loves cats and doesn't understand why the cats don't love her.
It's a very difficult experience for Donka.
Uh-oh. Your show is dumb. Gamers are unhealthy because they eat junky foods, and you will be sued as rude, a dude, for trying to make them healthy. Love you too, Michael. You know. There's only one problem with that. This wasn't enough typos. I'm sorry. On his question, 25 years ago, birds lived that long? Yeah, actually, my mother, I believe, Lucky.
Yeah, that bird is amazing.
Yeah, I believe that out in the wild, their lifespan's probably 10 to 15 years. In captivity, because remember, they're not out there.
It's a stable food source.
It's a stable food source.
Temperature.
They're not out there in the weather. They can live generally, I think with cockatiels, it's generally up to 25 years. That's how long my mother's had the bird. And I believe she was still working at the time as a preschool teacher. And I believe, or maybe it's 24 years ago. I think I was just out of the academy. So, no, 25 years. Because I'm retired over 6. Oh my God. I can't believe that. So, but yeah, they can live a long time. The issue with like dogs is the smaller the dog, the longer the lifespan. I don't know how that works with cats. Like smaller dogs have, with birds, smaller dogs have a lifespan similar to cats, which can be 14 to 20 years. I knew when I was spending summers up in the Poconos as a kid, my friend Jerry, the family cat, the black cat, name was Leroy. Sorry. That cat was 26 years when he passed.
Oh my God, really?
He was an indoor-outdoor cat.
That.
He was never fixed. He was probably the donor for almost every stray cat in the area. Sweetheart of a cat. Sweetheart. I mean, big, black, furry cat. So, Ken, it's not a troll. It's somebody making fun of somebody. I appreciate it.
Go, Kenny.
Graph paper architect is Michael, and he's one of the good guys. Are you a troll on Halloween? Can we prove it? I don't know. I was going to. We have a costume, by the way, for Donka.
Yes, she's gonna be a hot dog.
The dachshund's going to be the hot dog is going to be a hot dog. So figure that crap out, folks. Couldn't plan that if you want
You'll
to.
have to post pictures of her.
I will.
On the blog.
Then I'll be the one. It won't be cat pictures this time. It'll be dog pictures.
Yeah.
Oy, hey. So my video that was earlier today, if you've seen it or not, but the video was in reference to somebody in this community, the larger gaming community, theoretically in the OSR, although the person that was claiming that the OSR is dead because he disliked a handful of people that everybody dislikes, but therefore, because I guess they weren't wearing a scarlet letter or they weren't somehow forced out of a community that has no hierarchy, right? You weren't forced out of a community that lacks hierarchy. People are taking a lot of schaden for it, and the fact that this individual got a cease and desist over last weekend. I happen to be one that broke the news. I think I broke the news before he actually got it in the mail.
Guess what?
I am not the source of it, by the way.
Terrible.
I am not the source of it, but he really, the individual in question has an issue or had an issue with being a dog with a bone for topics that didn't, or individuals that didn't need that kind of attention, and has caused problems for a number of people. And when you start causing problems to somebody and their, I guess their work, their publishing, their convention, when you start trolling convention vendors and saying, "Oh, well, you can't vend at this con. Don't you know that this con is a not?" Oh, I can't say that word. I stopped myself. Not.
It's a
Yahtzee con. It's because of Ernie Gygax, who's no longer a guest there anyway. He was uninvited like weeks ago. So after the C&D, they promptly, within hours, privatized or deleted their last 6 months of YouTube videos, which apparently was causing them problems.
I mean, which is weird because they can always get it, and it stays. As part of a record,
but they took that. Well, here's the thing. I suspect what was going on is if I take this down and I take down all my tweets, which again isn't getting rid of any evidence, because you're not getting rid of evidence by you deleting it. It's not like you can scrub it. It's the internet. It never forgets. But I think he felt that by doing all that, he would appease the gods of C&D, and it would end right there. But the individual that sent the C&D also sent a copy of the C&D to this individual's wife, which I am assuming is the reason why we had the social media meltdown where the whole channel was deleted initially. And then Facebook accounts start getting deleted. This individual has at least 4. I knew one was still up late this afternoon. But then they went on to YouTube with a video. For the length of the video, the words on the screen just said goodbye, and you got to listen to
"Suicide is painless."
And it was, and it's a really solid version. I mean, it's a version that if the words were different, you're like, I put this on my playlist all the fucking time. Man, it's a good sounding song. And then you go, it's the most depressing fucking song I could listen. That's the reason why MASH, the TV series, didn't have vocals for their song. It was just a musical. So it was "Suicide is Painless," but you never heard the words. So
right, I think they played it on the radio around that time.
Well,
or something, because you knew what it was.
Well, you knew what it was because in the movie.
Oh, it was from the movie.
It's from the movie, and that's when I believe the dentist they make the dentist think that they're going to give him a lethal dose of whatever. They basically faux suicide him. And so, but he doesn't actually go see. He thought he wanted to suicide, but once he wasn't suicided.
Oh, okay.
So, sorry, let me catch up here, Michael. I am a troll, and I am made because
A tool.
a troll. You know, Michael. Michael. I know how you actually type. I know how you actually speak, and if this is not you. This is not the Michael that I know. I am telling you this just so you know. But I don't eat that. I don't eat the Halloween candy because, oh God, man, my bunch really bad. Is
No.
Don, you get a CD. I get a CD. We all get a CD. I think we are all on a Gamers Oprah show. But do I get a car? I want to know if I reach under. Is there a set of car keys under my seat?
Yeah, like an Oprah.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
A Gamers Oprah show. But no.
Where's my Clarence goodie
Rob,
bag?
Rob, if you really want a CD, I'm sure somebody will be happy to arrange. I mean, I don't listen. I leveled up. All right, I actually got a lawsuit, so I actually leveled up to.
Nice.
McKean, you can try, but you are not Neon in the Matrix, so you have no power over me. Michael, that may be true, but
Neon.
But Ken does have one power over you that I have to say everybody else in this room lacks, and it's the fact that Kenny's known me since kindergarten.
Ah.
Now that, and also, and if you want to blame him for me being in the OSR, blame Kenny because
he turned you on to this stuff.
He turned me on to D&D. My first game session was a one-on-one with Ken. So if you want to blame for the haters out there that go, fuck Tenkar, I hate him. Well, if you hate me, you're gonna have to bring Kenny into the mix, man, because he created the gamer here that you see. So dangerous as it is. Oh, Griff, Michael, I never got any CD. I only got Libel. I am like Charlie Brown, only got a rock. Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. I'm sorry, man. Making a reasonable offer to cease publishing defamation can affect calculation of punitive damages and real damages. That is certainly true.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I don't think you can erase the fact that he called individuals the Yahtzee word. So I mean that's and very publicly and trolled people on Twitter. I mean, Graph Paper Architect, don't worry, it's still early. That was Don. Rob, even if defamation is still around, your efforts to remove it are considered. Former union newsletter publisher threatened by lawyer a couple of times. Well, there you go, Rob. So that makes perfect sense. All right, yeah. So I still think that listen, the overly dramatic leaving today by an individual, it's like Candyman. If you say the name and 3 times in the mirror, they kind of forgive me for belching.
Well, I mean, what was this person's intention? It's like hearing that song, and then what the video was, or what his actions were. That's a concern,
right?
It's like, was the intention to say, yes, my channel was so integral to this community,
and now I had to kill it.
It's gonna be like when MASH left the airways.
So
you know what I mean? Because it was that important and it's that wonderful and that artistic and telling of the human condition. Or is it the other way? He's saying goodbye. He's taking his stuff all down, despite knowing that there's always going to be a record.
Right.
Like, why would you do that if you?
Right.
It's like if you're on the right, you leave your stuff up.
Right.
And then it's also like, what is your intention when you play songs that suicide?
Yeah. Pretty much idealize suicide, right? And
yes,
that's what it comes down to. So, my video earlier today, I touched on that and I said, listen, I hope it's a trolling. I hope that he's doing this last video and I hope it's a troll.
Yes.
But I don't know what to troll. And if I don't know what to troll, it means, oh my God, Rach, and of course, right behind you, it's a big splatter of red as we're talking about this on the TV screen. Oh my, not planned, folks. Certainly not
It looks
planned.
like some kind of stairs going
Yeah.
down or
It's
something.
it's your red halo, Rach. It's how much we love you. We give you a red halo.
Yeah, but I mean, and then the suicide thing, it's like, okay, is this channel all this person had in their life? And then, like, what happens when, people lose status or, lose certain parts of their identity, whether that's job related, whether that's relationship, all of those things sort of contribute to maybe any underlying depression that could be going on, and then, just compounds it more, so you would be worried.
Yes.
Any normal person would be worried.
Michael is like, quite true, Rach. It's good to hear from their brains of this operation. Yes, I'm a troll. It's Halloween. Love you both. So, the whole thing is it's a really rough one because any community, we bust on each other's balls, we bust each other's humps, we call each other on each other's shit, and there are going to be times when you step in shit pretty badly.
Yeah.
And I have, and I'm not talking about my current situation, but in the past, I have done or said things that inadvertently hurt people because I thought I was being funny and I was actually not being as funny as I thought I was being. And I fell on the sword and I've apologized. That goes a long way. And I witnessed it on my job. When people are willing to fall on the sword, the repercussions are generally a lot less than they would be otherwise. But when you repeatedly, in this case, stalk people like Wenger, I swear to God, he was doing anti-Wenger videos and then just dropping them on anybody's tweets. It was, and that's the reason why, I'll tell you the truth, I'm a little worried because, in my opinion, I am not a medical professional. I have no training in any kind of mental health levels beyond what the NYPD gave me in how to deal with emotionally disturbed persons, which was, hey, get out the man catcher. Most of the tools that we were supposed to have in our patrol car as a sergeant were tools to deal with emotionally disturbed people. We were supposed to have,
meaning that they were acting out and just totally out of control.
Right. So we had,
which there's so many varying degrees in between.
So we had a man catcher in the trunk. Now, Rach doesn't know what a man catcher is, but a lot of my gamer goodies on it. It's that pole arm that is made to reach out.
God, like they have for the dogs?
Yeah, kind
of.
With
a loop on
Not
it?
a loop on it. It's open, and you're supposed to be able to use it and hold somebody against the wall with it.
All right.
I couldn't even tell you if it was in my trunk.
By God's grace, seeing police response to all these things, I'm so happy I never had to see that. They all jump on.
Yeah.
They chase and then they jump on.
The NYPD is pile on the rabbit, which is the more bodies you can get on a body,
as long as it
lowers the injury. If we can just plomp on the guy and you get cuffs on him, the game is over. So, but my training is in pretty much those devices and in verbally trying to bring somebody down. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not there to evaluate them, but my experience in dealing with people who've gone through emotional or mental traumas, and having known multiple officers who took their lives.
Right, the fact that no one is immune.
No one is immune. And by the way, people are going to go, well, these officers took their lives because they're cops and they had access to guns. I only know one.
Right, their means was...
No, they never did. It was never a firearm.
Oh, really?
It was never a firearm.
That's true. I've seen them do like
Okay. I,
the hose on the back of the car with the carbon monoxide.
Yep, that was one. Walking into the water at Rockaway Beach was another.
Oh wow.
Oh wait, throwing herself out of a window was another.
Oh.
And these are people that I knew in my circles. And then the first one I knew was officer in my second command, the 4-1, who he killed himself in his ex-wife's bathroom in the bathtub, and because his ex-wife took the house and then brought her boyfriend in, so he killed himself in the bathtub, slit his wrists.
Jesus.
So
yeah,
they didn't use firearms. You think they're cops? They're going to use firearms,
right? That they have the access to the most lethal thing possible.
And not that I don't know of cops that have done that. I know them from news stories, but the cops that I knew,
there was a multitude of different
means that led to this, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
So when I see somebody who I know is mentally stressed and, in my opinion, probably has had mental stressors for a while, put something like that up, I get worried, because I don't have to. What's the phrase? I don't have to like you to be concerned about you. I don't have to.
You don't have to like him to have compassion,
right?
For
I don't wish something like that on my worst enemy, and this guy is not my worst enemy. He's just
he's
an annoying fool, and I don't want to see that happen. Now, other people have different opinions of him. Some a bit more stringent than mine.
Yeah.
But so the problem is that we are entering the. I know, Rach. I got to catch up. Mistakes are forgivable, just done. But when it is all the time, it goes beyond something that it's easy to let pass. Oh yeah,
right. That they have bad intentions toward people a lot of the time.
Those are real. I thought those were from movies or from the 50s. No. So two of the cops. Part of my responsibilities when I was in internal affairs for a number of years was to deal with our broken toys, the suspended with pay. Their survival rate, generally speaking, was maybe 1 out of 10 went back to full duty. Most were going to get dismissed, and I was, strangely enough, very good at dismissing them because I had empathy. All right, I could.
You could do it in a gentler way.
Yes,
that recognize their humanity.
Right. So, two of the individuals in question were people that I had to dismiss. One, I worked with his sister. She was a fellow sergeant. I actually went to
his funeral.
Yeah.
Up in PA, yeah.
So, this shit is real, okay? Yeah. And if Jackass was joking about it, I'd gladly punch him in the face.
Right.
If Jackass was seriously considering it, I strongly recommend that he seek help with the suicide hotline. I mean, it's there for a reason. It's there so if you're at that point where things are overwhelming and the world is collapsing on you, you call that number.
Yeah.
And somebody who understands, who has empathy, who has maybe gone through similar thoughts as yourself, will be able to listen. You know? So, thank you, Rob. you know, I know there's a part of the community that's like, oh, Tenkar was a cop. He was one of those. He's a piece of shit. You know. And then there's others. When I was on the job, it's like, oh, Tenkar is IEB and fuck that shit.
Mm.
You know. Um, I've always tried to do the best I can for the people that I'm responsible for. I am not responsible for this individual in question. Nobody here is. Only they are responsible for themselves. All right. I can't take their hand and lead them to anything. With the people that I know that I've lost, especially the two that I supervised as they were suspended, and they came in and reported to me, and you know, you would talk with them and you would hear their life story and whatever else. And yes, they always had an excuse as to the well, I know I failed the dole test for cocaine, but my girlfriend's brother stored his cocaine in my protein mix.
Like, yes, like if I just tell the right story, I'll be able to make this turn around. And with both of those situations, they were situations that they thought they might be able to get some play and turn around, and they hadn't sort of started to possibly comprehend mourning the loss of the identity as a cop,
this guy was a second grade homicide detective, and he was one of the he closed I think more cases percentage wise than any other active detective.
He was an effective
he was
person,
good at his job, and he probably used the cocaine to keep himself wired. But at the same time, I'm hearing that story and I'm like, but dude, you're married with children, so why are you storing why do you have anything stored at a girlfriend's house? That's just me. That's the questions that I would have, you know. And you would think that this individual did the car with the hose to the exhaust and in the garage.
Yeah.
He had employment outside the job too. So and
wow.
Oh yeah, he was a maitre d' at I think a major restaurant up in like Yonkers.
Wow, and he still
because it defined him. And now and that's what worries me in this situation. If
that was my first worry, especially if having this channel was his only involvement in, like, his only vocation or whatever, you know.
If being an honest to God troll, which a lot of times he was the only thing that got him out of bed, then closing all this down can be a huge issue. And like I said, we're getting into the days are getting shorter. All right, we're suddenly gonna have the clocks shift, right? So it's gonna get dark even sooner. What happens in wintertime for a lot of people? Friends of mine, you wouldn't expect it from, but they're like, yeah, I'm diagnosed with seasonal depression. I'm like, really? Yeah. And I mean, that's something that they know, they expect it. They know it's coming.
They take precautions and
but
do what they need to do for themselves to prepare.
Rob, I thought dismissed cops could just move out of state and get rehired. Doesn't that happen a lot? Generally, no. It depends on what you. Here's the thing: if you get dismissed by the NYPD and you apply for a job elsewhere, every PD job does research and background checks. So now, to tell you how screwed up the NYPD is, the NYPD was getting requests from Port Authority PD for a number of years for background information, disciplinary information on cops that were in the NYPD looking to switch over to Port Authority. And for a number of years, until they got a court order, they wouldn't give that information up because they didn't want to lose cops to a neighboring jurisdiction. Figure that crap out, right? But if you get fired by a police department, and I'm not saying downsize, some small departments you could be downsized. All right. If you actually get fired, and that's the difference. If you are going to get fired, you're probably best off leaving on your own, right? Because then the NYPD will say yes. Then I can
They
say
can
much,
only say certain things. They
right?
can, like, I guess the salary, the disclosures that come from most employers. Like, they
Right,
can't really say much. Um, it's a different thing if you're giving a reference.
right. I mean,
Like you're signing a different kind of release for that.
there were times when I had my suspended people have their prospective new employer call my office
Yeah.
and ask me, "Oh, how is so and so at work?" And I'll say, "Well, they report on time. They are not excessively absent. Well, how is their work ethic? Oh, they report on time. They're not excessively absent. I'm not telling them he's currently suspended with pay and his responsibility is to report for 30 minutes before I send him home. I'm not saying that shit. I'm saying what I can say within the parameters of the job. So there's that. But if you are fired from a police department, they will tell
Your
you
job status at the end of your employment
was
is
fired.
something that you're able to give to
Right.
a prospective one.
So you would be now. Why you're going to go? Why do these people not quit? Well, because if you're suspended with pay, you're getting paid full salary to show up for a limited amount of time. It's a great gig, right? A lot of these guys, God bless them, were going back and finishing off college degrees. One,
which is the best thing that they could do with their situation.
Right. Now, my issue was like the jackass who failed the dole for cocaine, a different one, and he appealed. Long story short, it came. I had him for a year and a half. He was collecting before he got fired, and when I had to tell him, "Hey, Dean, listen, I need to talk to you in the office," he's like, "Why, Dean? You and I need to talk privately in the office." And I was like, "Dean, listen, you had your trial was recently. You know that the decision was going to come down. The decision did come down. The commissioner has agreed with the court's recommendation that you be dismissed for violating our drug policies." And he started to freak out because he never told his ex-wife that he was at risk to lose his job, and the kids were still on his health insurance, which meant the kids were going to have no health insurance. He was living in his own strange world where this was never going to happen. The guy had 18 years on. So, that is the bizarreness. So, I would give the advice unofficially, like, listen, if you think you're not going to win your case, don't hang out to the end, okay? Because you're going to have a decision that's not going to.
Yeah, and there's especially the drug ones. You can't really, unless they were prescribed to you or it's alcohol. There's not really any ways of maneuvering.
Yeah. Thank you, Zach, for the $2. And yes, I know we'll be VRing. I couldn't VR today. But Rach was working with the power blocks.
Oh yeah. That's something nice.
Yes. Oh, and Tammy and Tom are in too.
Nice.
So we'll get back to the power blocks in a second. So, like I said, seasonal depression is going to be a thing. If you suffer from these things and you start getting those thoughts that are dangerous thoughts, please, if they're that dangerous, if they're as dangerous as the thoughts that somebody may have
thought about hurting yourself is dangerous.
Yeah.
In some way,
Yeah.
Whether it's just hurting yourself, whether it's with the intention of suicide, all of that,
everything
that needs to be addressed.
Every issue in life, guess what? At some point, it passes. maybe the resolution isn't exactly as you want it to be, but at some point, every problem passes. Maybe it passes on to a new problem, or maybe it resolves itself. Maybe you resolve it. But given time, most everything, especially bullshit like things in the community, life moves on. So again, I worry about people, especially with the winter coming up. Yes, I can go VR, and I don't suffer from depression, thank
By
God.
God's grace. Yeah.
But I know people that do.
Yeah, like certain medical conditions can come along with underlying depressions, like my condition, like hypothyroidism, whatever it's caused by. Other medical conditions can cause it too because of just the stress of having that condition, and some of the impact that these conditions have on our body, our hormones,
Yep.
all these things. It's not just, I decide to be depressed today. It's never like that. It's depression is a very sneaky thing. Like we often don't quite realize when we're having some of the symptoms. A lot of times we just say, oh, this is just what happens when you get old. This is just, I feel draggy because I'm big, or, whatever. But yeah, a lot of times we don't recognize our symptoms or give our symptoms
the proper respect.
The proper respect, yes.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
and we can talk about what some of those are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the PHQ-9. Maybe type in. Can you do that? Can you get the PHQ-9 so that people can see?
Oh, you want me to share a screen?
Yeah.
PHQ-9.
I think the first one that comes up is gonna have like a disclaimer. There it is, right up top. You have a disclaimer here that
hold on a sec.
Oh, they can't see it yet.
They can't see it yet.
Oh.
All right, I'm gonna have to. All right. That looks good. Now I gotta slide it in here.
Slide it on in.
Slide it on in. All right.
So PHQ-9 is just, it's a questionnaire that often we get when we go and see the doctor. They ask it a lot in primary care settings. We used to use this all the time in mental health. And what's nice about it is that it sort of lists a lot of like what the symptoms are. And if you think about it, how many times, during the last 2 weeks did I experience these types of symptoms? And so, like the first one is little interest or pleasure in doing things. And it asks you how many days out of the last 2 weeks did you, experience that? And, you choose whatever applies. And a lot of people get diagnosis of depression in the medical settings that use it. A lot of different types of medical providers, psychiatric, primary care, places where they would worry that somebody, could have some type of underlying depression. In a lot of primary care settings, they give this to everyone that walks in the door. In my mental health clinic where I was, we gave this to everybody. We also gave one that, addressed anxiety symptoms and things like that. But I just wanted to be able to show you so that you could be able to see like what the symptoms are. It's almost like a Cosmo quiz.
Oh my God.
From back in the day. But definitely don't, like the disclaimer says up top, definitely don't, use this to like self-diagnose, because some of these things can mimic some of the symptoms we get from another medical um illness. So yeah, it's something, something good to be able to like look at what the symptoms are, um and then especially if you're like, whoa, I experience a lot of these,
Right.
let me talk to my doctor about it.
So they're generally little interest or pleasure in doing things,
Hmm.
feeling down, depressed, or hopeless, trouble falling or staying asleep or sleeping too much, feeling tired or having little energy, poor appetite or overeating, feeling bad about yourself or that you are a failure or have let yourself or your family down, trouble concentrating on things such as reading the newspaper or watching television, moving or speaking so slowly that other people could have noticed, or so fidgety or restless that you have been moving a lot more than usual. Thoughts that you would be better off dead, or thoughts of hurting yourself in some way. And basically, it says scores of 4 or less suggest minimal depression, which may not require treatment.
Right. And then, it goes up. So, like, if you have over 15, usually that's a more severe depression. I think anywhere from like 4 to 9 is like a low, like a mild depression. And then in between, the 9 and the 15 is a moderate depression. But, because this is nice because it basically goes through a lot of different criteria. Um, that's that they specify like in the DSM-5. So, which is like the manual that they use to be able to make psychiatric diagnosis for people. But just because you might have some of these doesn't mean that you have, a full-fledged depression. Like, for example, when my hypothyroidism is not under control, I can feel a lot of fatigue. Let's see, I can have trouble sleeping. I can have difficulty with concentrating, and like the low energy. So, just take a grain of salt, but also, some of these are huge flags that you would want to be able to reach out to somebody to be able to, have some help with.
So now that we've dealt with depression, and it's a depressing topic, I understand that.
Sorry.
So no, but no, please, I'm.
But there are things that you can do, so it doesn't have to stay,
right,
that way.
So, Rach,
and it's not all just about medicine.
There's
so much lifestyle stuff that you can do to support yourself with this condition, to have it less of help it have less of an impact on your life and your functionality.
So, to bring this back around, Rach today, like, I don't know if you all remember what it was like to try to order any kind of exercise equipment during the height of whatever you want to call the prior to the endemic situation that we had during the shutdown, and I got power blocks, and these are the dumbbells that are adjustable. I mean, I got ones that are way too heavy for me to ever potentially use, but in any case, I use them. Then I brought one set to the Poconos, and I let the other set in the box. And foolish me. In any case, Rachel's workout partner, and they do this via Zoom, said, "Oh, I have exercises I can show you, Rach, using those." And Rach started that today.
Yeah, I said, "What? With that thing?" I was kind of scared of it. It's this thing that, Eric would have it here in this room in front of TV, and he would do his weights, like his bicep curls and whatnot, and I would just trip over the friggin' thing. so I was like, I don't like this thing, but it's something that's helping Eric, so it's all good by me. This just might not be for me. And I had these ideas that, oh, the dumbbells are for boys, for men. But very wrong. It was really nice to be able to, play with some of this and kind of try it on. So we were doing we're doing clean and press. You go into a squat, you pick the weight up off the floor and you rack it at your shoulder as you come up, and then you, I guess, do the press part and then come down and then go up on the other side. So I was pretty
She was pretty
excited by that. I was like, this is some real bodybuilder shit. I'm gonna meet the boys now. Look out.
So
kind of empowering.
I got to listen in from this room because they're in the room behind us when that's happening, and it's like I'm like smiling listening to my wife because it's a beautiful thing to hear right now. And
I was like, oh, but Eric could do this one, and Eric can do that one. He doesn't go, Eric doesn't like to be on the floor. So
no, I don't do that.
Like, because we were doing some like where we go into a glute bridge and then bring the weight over, or just like do the triceps from the glute bridge with it. So yeah, it was pretty wild to see all the different things that you could do, and that it could be a full body kind of thing.
So these are the new exercises that Rach is working into her routine. Now, Rach did not mention this. I'm not gonna give up any exact numbers, but at the doctor's office, Rach weighed in at the lowest weight that I can recall.
Well, I'm not saying, you could say, I'm not. There's no shame in here.
Well, I'm not. So I don't blow up spots.
No, it's fine. So I was 209 last Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Then I went to the doctor's, and with my clothes on, it was like 208. So and then they said 206. I was like, all right. But I guess it's not really 206. Well, it was like kind of, she was generous.
Well.
And so, then this morning I got on, it was like 210. I was like, no, you're not allowed to be in the double digits too.
But the thing is, right, you're building muscle and you're eating well and you are losing weight, and I am thrilled. I happen to be proud.
Thank you. I mean, I guess it
fluctuates.
Yeah.
Did you have your proper morning ritual yet? No, I didn't. All right. Well, then maybe defer. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a shitty thing.
But
I was like, that's one of the shitty things about an uncontrolled hypothyroid, or like a high TSH. You could have like constipation and nasty.
So it is a shitty thing.
It literally is.
It literally is.
Well, maybe it lacks shit, but it's still shitty.
Okay, fair enough. So, is there anything that we didn't cover?
I can't imagine that there's anything we didn't cover.
All right. So, folks,
our arses.
Yeah, we covered
thyroids.
I think you might be true. By the way, folks, we do a newsletter, gamershealth.substack.com. Listen, whether it's breakfast recipes or suggested snacking for low carb, we're gonna put it out on a weekly basis. So it should be out tomorrow or Monday. So if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. And of course, Tenkar's Tavern.substack.com is where you're gonna get all the old school gaming. Hold on. Wow, that was scary. We dropped there for a minute. Oh, no.
That's pretty
The camera has to focus. Still isn't focused. I don't know. Yep, we went offline. Apparently, I guess we had an internet outage for a few seconds there.
Huh. I
All right.
usually get that.
So the other newsletter is Tenkar's Tavern.substack.com. You'll find what's going on this channel. Joe the Lawyers, Matt Jackson, Joe Blocks, Benoit Poirier, and when Bad Mike will have his own channel up soon. Rob Conley's working on his. We are going to keep on growing the Tavern Video Network, so we can make sure we're all inclusive. Can't have too many people, just more.
The more the merrier.
It'll update weekly, also usually on Sundays, Mondays if I'm having issues. How do you subscribe to the newsletter? Gamers Health, just the link at the bottom of the screen, Tammy. Or most of my videos have that as a pinned comment, so you can go there. I'll put a pinned comment up later on this one when we finish this, and you'll be able to just click the link. But gamershealth.substack.com, or just go. You don't have to subscribe. It's also a website, but you go to the website, you can subscribe, and that's where you get it in a newsletter version in your email. It's kind of cool. You get to know when the new stuff comes out. All right, we are going to wrap this up because with my new medication, I have to eat like very spread out, or else I get like way too full. All right. I think have you already covered? No, we haven't. Listen, we're in the midst of the endemic. Use your common sense. All right, I'm making it shorter. Be safe, be well. God bless. For all those dice, roll them well. I will be back again tomorrow with some short video nonsense, and I look forward to seeing you all elsewhere.
Thanks everybody for coming.
Yep, and we'll do this again in a week.
Yeah.